Let's go into a bit more detail about you as an athlete. So, what sort of like physical or mental demands do you have to endure whilst you're training in Kendo?
Oof. So I think physically wise, I think when you're training like 4 or 5 times, 6 times a week, there's obviously a large strain in your body. And I feel like after doing it like repeatedly and you're doing like long training sessions and you're really putting your body through it, then some things start to give out. So like, your ankles, your knees, your elbows, your shoulders, like just whatever your weak point is in your body, that's what will give out first. If you're doing like quite like a lot of rigorous training. And for mental demand, I'd say like definitely going into competitions, like, if you have to like represent your country, if you're, thinking about, your teammates, the people that are like supporting you, the people that are counting on you, I'd say there's definitely a lot of mental demands, especially like on a competition day. You have like 9, 10 hours, you're in a hall and you have to try and be concentrated the whole time, try and think about who you're fighting next, what your condition is like. Are you hungry? Have you eaten too much? Are you thirsty? How's your body moving? Like, etc. There's definitely like quite a lot of just demand all around for mental and physical.
Right. Has there been like times where I don't know if you were against an opponent that you are fighting against before, but you lost to them? Has there been any occasion like that? How did you kind of like manage that?
Oh, that's really hard because, like, obviously, if you've fought somebody like second or third time, and especially when you're doing like European circuit or, like international competition, you know a lot of the players, so you know how
Yeah.
they fight, and maybe you've lost to them, maybe you've beaten them. And I think what's really important is to just realize that maybe that's how they were before, or that's how you were before, but this is a completely different like moment. So anything can happen.
Yeah.
Like in my opinion, in competition sports, and for example, in Japanese, like shiai means matches. So in shiai, like in a match, anything can happen, in my opinion. So that's also something that gives me confidence and hope. So if there's somebody that I feel is like very, very strong, I feel like, yeah, there is a way in which I can beat them. But the opposite also applies where I can't let my guard down to anyone else.
Yeah. Would you say it's kind of like if, like in that case, because there may be favorites, just put like less pressure on you to win? Do you think that it's quite similar to that in that aspect?
So I feel like rather than thinking about, oh, they like, if they're stronger than me or weaker than me, I just try to, I feel like those words just aren't very like accurate as to what could actually happen inside of a match. Like, so I just always try to have the mindset of being a challenger, going into those matches, like trying to challenge myself to do the best that I can do,
Yeah.
and trying to challenge the person in front of me to try and, defeat them in some sort of way. Normally the guys are fighting the guys and the girls are fighting the girls. So it's not like the guys and the girls are competing against each other. But the reason why I really like Kendo is because like everyone has different like shapes, sizes and builds, and like female and male is quite like also different can be. So there's a way to for any type of opponent to beat any other type of opponent. Like it's not just because you're bigger and stronger that you're like necessarily better. There's so many other targets you can hit, and if somebody's just rushing or somebody's not being smart about it, you can like hit them in those moments. So I feel like, I wouldn't underestimate somebody because they were smaller than me or bigger than me, or just like I feel like you're not really constrained to your body types.
Up and strength. Yeah.
So I feel like that's quite cool, I think, about
Cool,
Kendo.
okay.
Obviously there are some like in competitive levels, like there's like obviously some body types that are stronger. Like if you're like more lean, more stronger, like
Yeah.
it's obviously you get the advantage, the competitive edge.
So there's definitely like, there's no like weight categories then.
There isn't, yeah.
There isn't, yeah. Yeah.
So like you'll see some top players that are like, quite tall, and there's also some top players that are like quite short. And it's not that one of them is better than the other, it's just they have different styles and just they found what works for them.
I'm quite interested about what you do as part of training from a conditioning perspective. So do you do lots of like leg training, trunk core work, shoulder work? What does a typical conditioning session look like to make sure you're performing at your peak best?
Like for me, conditioning, like when you condition your body to be in its best, performing state, I feel like that a lot of things come under that. And for me, it's like stuff like making sure that you do like rehabilitation if you have to do anything for like, for me, it's my shoulder or maybe my ankle. I try to get in stamina work. Like more recently, I've been like trying to cycle a bit more, and then some of my teammates have suggested it as well. Like, because like as we know, like London prices, especially for tube and bus, it's ridiculous, and they're going up again. My friend was like saying, yeah, well, why should we pay for buses when we can get a leg workout, get a conditioning in, and just cycle everywhere? So I was like, oh, that's a really good idea. So that's like something that I've been trying to do a bit more. You definitely have to do core workout, like footwork as well, you know, like it's just trying to make sure that everything is in a good condition. I think for me that's what it's like a continuous thing rather than like I have a specific workout for conditioning.
Right, right. And imagine like, especially when you mentioned about footwork. So would you say everything has to be quite coordinated to allow you to actually perform quite precise strikes?
Yeah, so I'll practice footwork, and it's definitely in order to make things fluid, in order to make things precise, in order to make things sharp. And you know, if you have a really nice footwork, then the opponent might not notice you coming in, or you know, you're able to react to situations better and like more accurately when they arise, and you're not really stuck flat-footed or like just, you know, without being able to move. So I think in Kendo, footwork is probably one of the most important aspects.
Is it almost like you're almost having to read the game or like kind of anticipate what they do next?
I guess the sweet spot is like when you enter flow state, when you're like not quite thinking, but you're also just reacting at the same time. So I think that's like the sweet spot. Like if you think too much about it and you start during the game, if you start thinking like, oh, they're gonna do this, so I should do that, then you're already like a second behind as to what's going on. So it's like if I threw a ball at you and then you caught it, you're not like thinking I'm gonna catch a ball now and then you catch it. You just kind of reactively catch it, but you're also thinking, oh look, the ball's coming, right? So it's kind of that sort of reactive, but also there's a thought process behind it. And if you can reach that state, then it's like the optimal, in my opinion, when you're in a match.